Welcome into Orange&White Takeover. Finally in the game week. I'm Noah Caldwell.
I'm John Broyles.
Matt Brewer.
We also have Mike as a producer tonight. Mike, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing today?
Feeling pretty good, It's exciting. We're finally, we've been building up until this actual moment, but we're finally, into game week. We're, I think, 3 days. Tomorrow, Friday, so 2 days really from now.
Yep.
Charlotte. This is a city that we've, never really been to for a football game. It's different. It's not your usual SEC town. So, what are y'all looking forward to this weekend for Charlotte?
Well, me, first off, one of the things that I think is kind of underrated about it, I love going and watching games in NFL stadiums. We've been to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We've been to Tampa Bay Bucs Stadium, which I forget the name of, and this will be
Raymond James.
Raymond James. There we go. Raymond James. That's the third one we'll have been to, and kind of excited just to see the atmosphere there. And you guys went to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Yeah. There was also the Tax Slayer Bowl there, and then there was also against Bowling Green at the Titans Stadium.
Yep, that's right.
So we've played in a fair amount of NFL stadiums over the last little bit, which is kind of cool. So before we go any further, I'd like to give a shout out to Fox Sports Knoxville, 3 and Out. Yep. Houston Crest, Nate Hodges, Davey Hudson. Thanks for letting me come on in representation of the rest of the guys here at Orange&White Takeover. It was tremendous to get the word out about the different places in Charlotte. We know that it's really going to help the Tennessee fans to be in the know when it comes to where to eat, where to hang out, all those different kind of things. Because as someone that went to away games early in my UT career without knowing much, having something like this would have been a tremendous, help to benefit the trips, So.
Absolutely. Thank you again, guys. And if any you guys missed it, you can check it out on our Twitter page and take you to a link to SoundCloud.
Yeah, I'll tweet out the link to SoundCloud again. And again, thank you to them for cutting that out and having our interview as a separate piece on their SoundCloud.
Absolutely.
So it's easy for us to put it up and have it easily accessible to everybody.
Great guys over there at Fox Sports.
Absolutely. This weekend, it's just going to be a lot of fun. First game of the season, we've been waiting for this, building to this moment.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of excitement, a lot of apprehension. It's going to be hopefully a really fun trip, though. There's just a lot of things to do in Charlotte, as we've described, a lot of things to look forward to. I think that Vol Nation is going to show out. West Virginia's been talking a lot of trash, putting basically the challenge out there, thinking that they're going to have us 60-40 in the stands. And
that's not happening.
I highly doubt it. They had, when they didn't sell even completely, I believe, their first allotment.
We sold our first allotment, I think it was the first month.
And we asked for more than that.
Yeah, we asked.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've asked for more at least once. I think we asked for it
twice, actually.
Yeah. So we've gotten a 4,000 to 5,000 more tickets twice. I definitely think that Vol Nation is going to be well represented in Charlotte, not only at the stadium, but I think that with it only being about a 3:45-ish drive from Knoxville.
That's a day trip for some people if they want to make it.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll be there the whole weekend, but if somebody wants to just make a day trip over there, that's easy enough to do.
It's only 4 hours. As we dive into Charlotte, we're going to be hitting on that for the first part of the show. Those of y'all that are tuning in because you're traveling to Charlotte this week, and we really are going to hit on that information early. Then we'll dive in more into the game preview and all that kind of thing. But on the other morning, whenever we were on the radio show, we hit on a couple of different restaurants and a couple of different bars, and we'll hit on those too. But like I said, we'll put on the SoundCloud link so y'all can get more in depth on there. But we'll kind of hit the other places too because we have more than just the 2 or 3 that we hit on the other day. So to start out with the food, do either of y'all have a place you'd like to hit on first? I can hit on different ones as we're trying to fill in all the different ones.
There's a bunch of good places to eat. Charlotte, big barbecue, low-key big barbecue place.
Which we talked about City Smoke the other morning on the show, which is supposed to be a nicer barbecue place that surprisingly takes a lot of pride in their rotisserie chicken, which is a little bit different for a barbecue place, yes. Yeah. But it looks like a good place. But yes, like you're saying, barbecue is supposed to be a huge thing over there. Surprised you didn't bring up Matt Chicago Dog.
Matt Chicago Dog, what can I say? Not the biggest hot dog fan, but, I'm going to have to, when we're there, we may have to stop by and try that one.
It's supposed to be a huge thing in Charlotte. It's not near the stadium. It's the only one listed that's not near the stadium. But it's supposed to be somebody that came down from Chicago and has opened up their own Chicago-style hot dog place in Charlotte. It was recommended on multiple sites by multiple people, and a place you really should check out if you have time. Maybe if you're staying into the afternoon on Sunday before you head back, grab a hot dog. That's an easy thing to put on your stomach before you get in the car. It's not something that's going to tear you up or anything like that. And Friday, maybe you get over there and you're looking for you don't want to eat a huge meal on Friday night, but you want to get something on your stomach before you go out Friday night or something like that. Maybe a cool place to hang out.
Definitely.
John, any places caught your eye?
The food I'm excited about. I think that Charlotte's a big enough town that you're going to be able to find a lot of variety and a lot of local places. Yep. They may be mom and pops, they may be chains, but I think Charlotte's a big enough city that there's so much variety. I'm all the places that we already talked about on air the other day with Draft and Cowbell Burger. Both of those we've looked into. I'm basically planning on probably making a stop at both of those. So
Cowbell Burger is one that I for sure want to stop at. I'm a big burger guy, and from the different burgers that they have on their menu and the reviews that they've gotten and people that have told us that have been there, that is one that I 100% want to stop at one night or the other.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that one probably most as well, in my opinion.
And one thing I didn't really get to hit on 3 and Out the other morning is Charlotte's an interesting town, as it seems almost every single restaurant is a bar at night, and every single bar at night tends to have a restaurant portion, which is kind of cool. And it seems to be some of the better food places are also some of the better hangouts at night.
When we were researching that's what we came up with a lot. A lot of these bars are also really good restaurants. They're really well known for their some of their local food that they have. Graham Street Pub, that was one.
Graham Street is the one that I am pushing on people hard that do not have a ticket to the game. It essentially sits in the parking lot of Bank of America Stadium. It is a 0.1 mile walk. They're going to have a DJ out there at, I think they said noon. They're going to have a special game day food and drink menu. I would almost guarantee that's where we end up for at least a little bit of the time as soon as the game is over, especially if the Vols win. We'll be looking to head over there and have a good time over there, especially that DJ keeps going and all those kinds of things. So that is a place that we are really looking forward to. Of course, we mentioned the other day, and I know it got Houston super excited. Anytime you talk to somebody that graduated before 2014?
14 was it 14?
Before 2012, maybe.
It was around, I think, 2013, 2012 when it closed.
What we're talking about is Tin Roof closing on the Strip, and nothing's has taken its place since
still
then.
Empty.
But any of those people will tell you that Tin Roof is a really cool hangout. There's 2 over in Nashville that I know of. I mean, they're in a bunch of different towns. Yeah. But that is a place that you know what you're getting into whenever you go there. As far as the other 3, we didn't really get into these whenever I was talking about them on the radio. But Prohibition is a really cool bar. It's more of your kind of looks upscale while also having a dance club type thing. Had a upstairs patio bar, so it's more of your modern bar and everything, which is kind of really cool. It's something that some of the younger crowd's looking forward to. Do y'all have any of the other bars that stood out to you a little bit?
I mean, you kind of hit all the ones that I was really looking forward to going to. I mean, we've gone to Tin Roof in Nashville and a couple other places before in the past, and then this Graham Street Pub and Patio is definitely one that we're probably going to be at for a while. Those are probably my main 2 I want to visit. But I mean, any bar I'm guessing in Charlotte this weekend is probably going to be filled with people from UT, in my opinion. So I think you'll probably have a pretty good time one way or another wherever you go. But that's where we're going to be at least for part of it. What about you, John? What are your ideas on that?
Honestly, I was in Charlotte recently and visited a couple of the breweries. And honestly, I hope to at least be able to stop by the ones that I visited because they were both great. The ones that we listed, both Sugar Creek and the brewers at 4001 Yancey, both of those were fantastic. I can wholeheartedly recommend if you're a Belgian Triple fan at Sugar Creek, their Belgian Triple is phenomenal, probably one of the best I've ever had. And then the variety and just honestly, whether you're lights, darks, IPAs, whatever your flavor, you'll be able to probably find something at the brewers at 4001 Yancey. It's a massive, basically warehouse-sized facility that just looks gorgeous. The same ownership group essentially opened it up in order to have both breweries operate independently under the same roof. But it's a really cool setup, and honestly, that's the exciting thing for me to go back and see and possibly visit and stop in, at least, grab a beer or two at one of the other ones. Because the area where the Sugar Creek brewery is, there's, I think, 6 or 7 breweries right within a half mile or so.
And they're both pretty close. And that is these aren't, I mean, they're not far from the stadium, but these are about 10 minutes south of downtown and where the stadium is.
Very close to the airport.
Yeah, very close to the airport. Just to add on a couple things, Sugar Creek had 11 different beers that are all their own. So a different, like John was saying, it's from a variety of light down to a porter. And then the 4001 Yancey is a really cool concept because it's 2 different breweries that are using the same facility, and they have a 38 draft bar. And it's not just their beers; it's a bunch of different craft beers. One of the more popular ones is I saw they had the Golden Monkey, which is a Belgian triple, which is a really good one. So those are both a couple places that we're probably looking at more for a Friday night. One thing I want to hit on with the bars, and we may be having a giveaway come your all's way. We'll be letting y'all know over the next 2 mornings whether or not that's happening or not, but we'll go ahead and throw out the information. There's a bar crawl. It's a college kickoff bar crawl, and we'll tweet out the link to that once we get some of the more details squared off. But it's you can buy a ticket Friday night, Saturday night, or for both nights. It'll be a really cool thing. It gets you it covers all your covers for all 16 bars that are involved. Also comes with some drink specials, those kind of things. And if you get the Friday night one, I believe it's $35, and then you also get a general admission ticket to the Kane Brown Brad Paisley concert. So we'll be giving out a little bit more information on that, and we may have a giveaway along with that thing. So we'll be keeping y'all updated with that as we go forward. As far as parking goes, there's nothing we can vocalize that's really going to put into picture what the parking situation is going to be.
It's not great.
If you go to owtakeover.com/Charlotte, it'll pull up our Charlotte page, and you go down to parking. It says game day parking, and if you click on it, it'll take you straight to the Belk Bowl kickoff, their website, and the parking map that they have up. It shows which lots are for different passes, which ones are still up for sale, and it'll also have on there one of those parking apps. You can go ahead and pay for your space on there. We will say we've looked through it, and if you have anything bigger than about a Prius, it's going to be hard for you to find parking on there because they say no mid-size SUVs, minivans, pickup trucks, so on and so forth. So as we've said, get there early and look at Moorhead Street. That's where we're going to be going. We'll be down there early. I mean, around the time the sun comes up. Looking for parking down on Moorhead Street. We're going to be trying to find the prime location so that everybody can come over and hang out with us. BYOB, BYOF, bring your own food, because we don't have the income to be able to provide drinks and food for however many people show up. But it is going to be an exciting thing. Anything y'all want to talk about as far as the tailgating or parking situation there?
Get there early. Come join us. We'll have a pretty good tailgate set up.
And what all are we going to have set up?
Speakers. We'll have ourselves. Do we have a tent that we're going to be bringing?
We're trying to figure out. I believe so. Because we'll be
bringing a canopy.
Beer pong.
Beers.
We'll have a table where you can do beer pong, flip cup, all those kinds of things.
BYOB, BYOF.
Honestly, I think it's going to be a great environment out. The parking, Moorhead Street essentially runs very, very close to the stadium, as we've already talked about. It's a long stretch of road. Everybody just get out there. I think it's going to essentially be a sea of orange. We'll try and get a pretty good location, but we'd love to have as many of y'all out there.
We don't want you there unless you're going to be rowdy, though.
For sure.
Yeah,
that is part of
we get a little crazy at tailgates, myself
Yes.
especially. When I say
For
myself
game
especially, I
one.
mean myself and all the
And
other
with it
three
being
guys in this room.
With it being a neutral site, when we see West Virginia fans come by, we're gonna have to figure out another
See,
saying.
you gotta. Yeah, that's true. We have Georgia Tech last year is quite interesting.
You could just tee them up, give them a tech
Give 'em
because
a
they're
tech.
Georgia Tech, but we got to
Tell
figure
'em
out.
get
We got to have our own
the
saying
outta
for West
here.
Virginia.
We'll come up with something very creative.
Do Alabama jokes work in the same way?
I mean, pretty much. I mean,
Oh,
West
yeah.
Virginia is almost like a downgrade of Bama. So I mean,
How many people are going to be
I don't feel that.
You know, it's up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm talking about the state itself, but West Virginia, if anything, is not much better.
We'll come up with
So-
something that we can taunt the West Virginia fans about, whether
Because
it's
that's
their
like our favorite part of tailgates. Okay.
yeah, whether it's their lack of conference titles or their
Hygiene.
0 appearances in national championships, or as John was just saying,
Or
their,
the fact
their
that they
actual
went
hygiene.
Yeah, their hygiene. Yeah, they're 7-6 last year.
Their greatest quarterback in school history is Geno Smith. The best
Pat
player
White
to ever,
debates that.
and maybe Pat White, the best
Maybe
player
Pat
to ever
White.
play in the state, actually went to Marshall. We can just keep on going down the list. I mean,
West Virginia really doesn't have a
And
lot
old
good going.
gold looks like puke.
yeah.
I mean, they don't even have a movie made about them, right?
no, it's
We
not.
Are
We are West
Marshall.
Virginia.
We are
It's
Marshall.
We are
yeah.
Marshall. You can't get McConaughey to act like he likes
They have
West
John
Virginia.
Denver. That's all they have. John Denver.
And that
Who's
song's not even about West
It's
Virginia.
about Western
Yeah,
Virginia.
I know.
All right, before we get on too much of a tangent there, yes, this weekend it'll be fun to just give absolute hell to all the West
Oh,
Virginia
yeah.
fans. We will make them never want to even think about joining the SEC in the near future.
No.
They'll never make it.
The other things in Charlotte, we've pointed out the food, we've pointed out the bars, we've pointed out parking, tailgating. Only other thing is just throwing out random information. We'll do this for each of the towns. You got Carowinds,
Mm-hmm.
and with Carowinds, once you buy a ticket, you have access to the actual theme park plus their water park, which will be open until mid next week. So, which is a cool thing to be able to do both in the same day, whether you're a big
Right now-
roller coaster guy
Yep.
or water park guy. What were you saying?
Right now, we're planning on doing
Yeah,
it.
well,
actually.
I think as of right now, our plan is as long as the weather is good, we'll be there on Sunday. At least some of our group will be there on Sunday. Other things to do, you got the in the NASCAR Hall of Fame over there.
I believe it is.
NASCAR Hall of Fame's over there, and there's also Top Golf over there, which if any Knoxvilleian hasn't been to Top Golf, even if you freaking hate golf,
That would be me.
even if you hate golf, you got to get over there. Or, it may be a little cooler, but you can save it for the Nashville trip at the end of the year because the Nashville one is pretty cool as it's one of the newer ones going on.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any questions about Charlotte, reach out to us. Our email is owtakeover@gmail.com. Reach out to us on Twitter at OW Takeover. DM us, tweet at us, whatever, and we'll make sure to respond in a timely manner. And make sure you have tweet notifications on for us on game day. Last year, we were able to tweet out, at 10 o'clock in the morning in Missouri saying, hey, all city parking garages are free on game day. That helped out a ton of the people following us. So
Yep.
make sure you have tweet notifications on to get our location for game day and any other little, life hacks, as people would say, for the game day. So game day
Yep.
hacks, we'll call them.
We'll be live tweeting the game to an extent, more so opinions and everything, giving you more of if people aren't able to watch it or if they're in a bar or something and they're missing something that's going on the sideline or something.
And a special surprise we've not mentioned yet. We will actually be doing a 15-minute game day Periscope, which will be a cool thing. We'll just have our phone set up. It'll be before we get tailgating and just how we feeling on game day? Are y'all ready? Just those kind of things. It'll just be a recap of, hey, this is where we are and this is what game day is looking like, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So moving on from Charlotte, let's get into some of the actual game stuff. We're gonna do this thing every week, and we're just going to stick with it right now as message board frenzy. And this is essentially looking at the opposing fan base's message boards, which is fun because it gives you a, congregated spot where all the dumbest of dumb fans. Oh, it's even for our fan base. You get on there.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to win 50.
You got all these old men out there who.
It's the idiots. It's the sabs that just want to sit on their computers all day
Now,
and be
to
like,
be fair, the dumb fans might be on there, but every West Virginia fan's dumb.
Talk
I think
about
that's kinda
tailgating
well
lots.
known, Yeah. Oh, really? There.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I'll have to read about that a little bit.
let's go into the official West Virginia Tennessee score prediction thread. West Virginia 42, Tennessee 30.
I can almost see that one.
45-17,
Yeah.
41-27, 31-17, 30-28. So we actually got a close one there. 38-27, 45-13,
45 to 13.
49-24.
I don't know what they think their defense is, but it's not that damn good.
52-21. West Virginia snoozer. Game will be over by the second quarter.
Yep, doubt that one.
Tennessee won't be able to keep their offense on the field. Tide turns early. Mountaineers scoring buckets. West Virginia cruises 48-21. Greer throws for 350 plus.
There was a 35-24. That's a decent.
24-20. Expecting their own team to
lose? That's
Down
not
the
good.
wrong. I mean, see, that's a reasonable prediction. If we are able to control the clock, pound the ball, I mean, yeah, you're going to be able to get a much lower scoring game.
Oh, here we go. Here's the guy drinking moonshine early in the morning. 2:02 a.m. I don't like making score predictions, but I'll go ahead and throw one out there.
Oh, I'm sure you don't like it.
Greer, Sills, Jennings, and Sims start off in midseason forms. Our running backs keep the Vols D off balance. Our defense struggles a bit, but finds footing, surprising everyone but themselves. West Virginia wins big, 56-28. Poor shit.
Some of the
Doubtful.
quotes. Here's some
Doubtful.
quotes that I enjoyed. Tennessee is in worse shape than Texas when Brown left. If we don't beat them, it's going to be a long season. This is
gonna be a long
This
season
is a little bit of a real take. Beware, Butch Jones is recruiting well at Tennessee, but for some reason he lost the team and they basically quit. We won't see the same team that lost 8 straight in the SEC last year. We'll see a pissed off team ready to prove a point, which I think will be definitely true.
I think that's an obvious point for us. I mean, we talk a lot about the fact that the more of the schematics of everything and the players we have in positions and how good they might be, but I think one of the biggest parts of football is how much passion does a player have. I think that's the most important thing for a player to have going into any game. And I think this Tennessee team is pissed off. I think they hate Butch Jones. I think they hate they hate everything that he did last year. And I think they are ready to come out here under a coach that I believe they really like, and assistant coaches that are great. And they want to prove a much bigger point than West Virginia.
No being smart and talking about the game during message board frenzy.
Oh, my bad.
We have to
I apologize. Message board frenzy.
Everything
It was based on a comment. It was based on a message board post.
This was one of the best ones because I love this because this is national talk. I've been listening to a lot of college football talk on Sirius. A week ago, they broke down the, quote, big opening weekend games. They were laughing at our game and wondering if we will win by 35 or 50. They think Tennessee is a 3 to 4 win team and that this is a complete mismatch.
3 to 4 win?
Yes, 3 to 4 win team. I mean, I was flabbergasted by that. I mean, I was just like, legitimately, how can you look at the coaching staff and regardless of Butch Jones' level of development the past couple of years, there is enough talent on this team that if this coaching staff goes and only wins 3 or 4 games, that is absurd. I mean, it would be questioning. Do we need to literally recycle the entire staff again?
Yeah,
because that would be.
Yeah,
that was a dumb comment. Whatever West Virginia fan out there did that.
No, that was a national somebody that didn't think.
They were literally talking about that was national radio shows. Whatever.
Can I bring up the best thread that I found? And it says Tennessee equals safety school. ... Continues on saying for Nashville State Community College and Lincoln Memorial University rejects. That is all. Somebody then comments says Paul Mitchell, the school Knoxville, is giving free Phil Fulmer haircuts this week for spite. And then you get a Tennessee fan on there saying, "Oh, we're 84 spots ahead of you in the U.S. News College rankings." Who gives a shit? It's football we're talking about. I don't care if our grades are better. I'm serious. I don't get that. Oh, yeah, we're smarter than you. Cool.
Yeah, that's what I hate about the Vandy people. That's why the Vandy people are so damn annoying.
This is even better. I don't get the win by 10 if we get an early turnover thinking this isn't TCU and Fort Worth we are talking about. This is a team that was only superior to Kansas among Power 5 programs last year. We better and will win by 28 plus.
I read that one today.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Quite confident.
I think they're slightly overconfident, I believe. I would love to believe that the players for West Virginia are too, but the fans definitely are.
I think that
these fans don't think it will stay close. I think that is a very bad I think they're going to be very upset if they only win by 3 points. Which
My favorite one I read
is probably
today
good.
was just saying that Tennessee's weakening their strength of schedule.
Weakening their strength.
Strength of schedule, and I was like,
John and I figured that out. When you look at Tennessee's,
you got Texas.
You're talking about how Tennessee's strength schedule looks bad on paper, whatever people are saying. It's like it's because ETSU, is an FCS team, 0 wins against a FBS team. UTEP went 0-12. Charlotte went 1-11. That means out of the 3 non-conference opponents outside of West Virginia, they won a whopping 1 game against Power 5. And actually, or not Power 5, just total FBS. And matter of fact, they beat UAB. 1 win out of 3 teams against FBS opponents. That's why
does UAB even count? Because they have
they came in second place last year.
That's right. They did, didn't they? That's right. I forgot about that. Still first-year team. Come on.
Last one that I want to read, and then we can move on away from
Go Blazers.
our message board frenzy. I got a good laugh from this one. It's still on that same thing, talking about how Tennessee's a safety school for Austin Peay. And closely related events, Dr. Andrew J. Russ, MD, FACS, FASCRS, is an associate professor of surgery and colorectal surgery within the Division of Colorectal Surgery at the University of Tennessee Graduate School of Medicine and Department of Surgery. He will be giving out free prostate exams to the UT football players following the game. Best wishes to his speedy recovery, gentlemen. Why that is even on a message board talking about anything makes absolutely no sense to me. And I think this is a perfect time to transfer into our next segment. Why your fan base sucks. Each week we'll be going through talking about why the opposing team for that week, their fan base sucks. Boys, is any more need to be said?
I don't even think anything needs to be said. There's plenty to be said. There's very obvious reasons here.
All right, let's go one. You claim a song to be your basically anthem that's not even about you.
Not about you. Different state, actually.
Yeah.
Not about your school. Not about your state. GTFO.
What else, boys? What else?
John Denver tells the entire state of West Virginia, hop off my...
Exactly. It's very easy to make fun of. You can rhyme so many things with Mountaineers, whether it's the Mountain Queers or the Brokeback Mountaineers. It's just
except we get it too with volunteers.
Yeah.
But nobody calls us. Nobody calls us the Volunteer Queers. It just didn't make sense. It just flows. Mountain Queers. They're just mountain. What do you call a fraternity at West Virginia? Mountain Queers. Did y'all see that video today? Cheers, beers, and burn volunteers.
And burn the volunteers.
I was like, cheers, queers.
That might be the gayest video I've ever. Am I allowed to say that? I'm allowed to say that. That might be the worst video, worst hype, whatever video you would want to call that. Very poorly done.
Was that one guy wearing overalls, one strap off?
With fireman
it's
playing by
it's what you imagine West Virginia Mountain Queer looks like, okay?
All I'm saying is,
was
that the college town of West Virginia? It looked like somewhere in the mountains somewhere, just like in the middle of
nowhere. Have you ever been to West Virginia? It's all in the mountains.
Oh, okay.
Them on a snow day?
Okay, there's 2 jobs, okay? Coal miner. And truck driver, yes. Those are the only 2 jobs, Mike, okay? It's all mountains.
No, you have to have a phenomenal oncologist in the town.
That's
true.
All the
fucking lung cancer.
That is true. What's their average lifespan up there, huh? Like 20 years? 30 years?
And the dad goes and does a job.
You mean brother or uncle or... Well, they're
that's
all
what I meant. Brother, dad, there's the same thing.
Yeah.
He goes and brings back the money for the day.
Brother.
Said, here you go, daughter, wife. I don't know what to call you.
Look, you got to give, but if we're going to use all the cliches for, your lunch pail people that check in for your football team, this is what it's written on, I guess. But it's a lifestyle. But
yeah, it's definitely a lifestyle. It's something else. One thing that, I thought about since the Georgia Tech game last year, I guess, kind of, we go down to Atlanta. We outsell Georgia Tech in Atlanta 60-40, 60% UT fans, 40% them in their own city, And I really do feel bad for people from West Virginia because it's going to be more like 80-20 this year. They can't get off their jobs to come down here, man. They all get paid more shit. All right, they won't be able to make it down to Charlotte for the game.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
So it's going to be a lot of students. It's going to be a lot of balls.
There's going to be There's not going to be very many of them.
Good.
Nobody travels.
There's going to be. Charlotte is one of the West Virginia hubs. That's still expected to be close to 50-50. I think we're being a little cocky going into it with how many fans are going over there. It'll be
when their chancellor comes
it'll
out.
Be, it's not going to be 60-40. I understand where the thing, but it won't be any more than 60-40 our direction. I guarantee that. So I expect there to be some physical altercations with Mountaineer fans.
I really don't doubt that either.
I'm staying clear this year of such things. I will not keep my mouth from being clear, but
that's why he has me. I'm the 6'5" bodyguard he keeps around. That's about all I'm good for around here.
He's our Orange and White bodyguard.
Orange and White bodyguard.
Orange and White. That's the next business we're starting. Orange and White bodyguard.
Orange and White bodyguard.
It's just a group of large dudes that follow you around when you're drunk.
Falls around the sorority.
You
girls.
need
it. So you're gonna wait out here. I have to make sure she's okay.
I have no choice. She paid me $10,000.
And I'm drunk.
It's a bunch of bodyguards who are drunk, following around a drunk guy.
All right, great business plan. Yes. Business model is developing as currently.
Nobody can steal that.
Trademarked right there.
Let's try to
rein it in.
Simmer.
With all seriousness, reading today, a lot of West Virginia fans are saying, Tennessee fans are so cocky because they're West Virginia and we're Tennessee. We come from a place where tons of wins, coming from a rich history, national championships.
Yeah, national championships, unlike somebody else we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the fact of all of it.
Marshall has a national championship.
The fact of all of it is the fact that West Virginia is being overly cocky this year. They have a better team than us for once in a what?
That's not even certain they have a better team at this point.
They had a better team last year.
Last year they had a better quarterback.
They had a quarterback.
They have a quarterback that went to Florida, so therefore
they have a guy that wasn't good enough to play quarterback anywhere. So
isn't that the Vine dude?
What?
Isn't he Vine guy? That's him.
Nash Greer?
Nash Greer.
Yeah. That's his brother.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
is. West Virginia.
It's just
this is ridiculous.
I feel bad for their fans. I really do.
Will Greer won't go pro because of that. You hear it at Orange&White Takeover first.
All right, I said simmer down, boys. Simmer down.
Sorry there. We get.
Let's actually talk about the game.
Wait, you think that Laramie Tunsil bong mask is going to get in the NFL? but Will Greer because of an idiot Vine brother? Yeah, I think he's good.
Game preview, boys. Game preview. Game preview. No longer talking about their fans. We know how we match up on paper against them. How y'all feeling about the actual game? I know we've talked often. Do not give your score right now. Mm-hmm. Do not give your actual score. We're going to hold that. My score. Hold that until the very end. Score predictions are coming at the very end to the nobody that's watching right now. Game preview, though. Of course, we know that West Virginia is supposed to be this pass guy offense. Not guy. Offense. Pass. When, all in all, I started watching some tape. I'll have our game preview up tomorrow, Thursday, for those of y'all listening later on. By the end of the day on Thursday, I'll have our in-depth game preview, which I challenge you to find a better way to put into it, where you won't find – because all of us, for the most part, have pretty good football IQ, and we're able to point out certain things that your average Joe that doesn't really know anything other than every guy that's on the team and what the coach says, blah, blah, blah. Actually, the X and O's, I think we're all pretty comfortable with the X and O's of football and understanding.
We understand –
yeah.
We understand football.
And that's what will make the game preview a lot more in-depth than what you'll read on Knox News.
Yeah.
Not to take any shots. What are y'all thinking right now about the game?
I'll go first. I think this game it's going to go one of two ways, and I believe it's going to be the second option here. But one, it gets carried away a little bit at the beginning. West Virginia takes a slightly large lead, no more than 21 points until Tennessee kind of finds till we find our footing, get the offense going, and maybe we catch back up a little bit, get a little bit of momentum. late second quarter, early third, catch back up, and then maybe end up losing down the stretch by a decent amount. But I feel more than likely, I feel we go toe-to-toe with them for the entire game until maybe we run out of gas in the fourth quarter. Maybe we keep it tight and we pull a typical Tennessee move and miss a field goal, or
14 guys on the field.
14 guys on the field. Thank you, Derek Dooley times 2.
What can Jeremy Pruitt do to push us past that?
Push us past that?
11 guys on the field and Tyson Hilton, who's just stumbled out on the field. Tyson Hilton.
A drunk Jeremy Pruitt has walked on the field.
Tyson Hilton is just hammered, and they're like, "Who the hell were you with before the game?" Sorry. I saw Steve Sarkisian at this bar on the way to the game. We decided I had to stop in for a drink. We ended up taking 20 shots.
We stopped at Orange&White Takeover's tailgate, and
what was that?
Matt Brewer was there, and I just had to take a shot.
What's
Orange&White bodyguard?
What's Lane's?
That's your new Twitter name. That's your new Twitter name. As soon as the show is over, Orange&White bodyguard is your new Twitter name.
Bodyguard, I can hear that. What's Lane Kiffin's pseudonym?
Joey
Freshwater.
Yeah.
He's now Saltwater.
Tyson Hilton walks
Joey
Saltwater.
Saltwater.
He walks out on the field. Yeah, I was with Joey Saltwater before the game.
Hey, he's a newfound Christian.
I know he is.
Him and Monty found the
Lord. It's not a
Lord.
laughing thing, but
Matt's like, Lane Kiffin a Christian. We keep getting off track. Hey, keep getting off track.
Hey, man, this is just too much fun. What can I say? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Preview. Look, I think that we've hashed on it enough. Bringing in Tyson Hilton as your offensive coordinator, he's talked about utilizing personnel. We're going to try and utilize having 4 guys, at least minimum 3, that you feel pretty confident putting the ball in their hands. An offensive line that's returning some decent experience, some versatility. Honestly, I think that they will bring some nastiness that we probably haven't seen from Tennessee's offensive line because of Will Friend.
And a defensive line. In my opinion,
I think
might take a little bit of developing.
Talking just real quick with the offensive line, just throwing it out there. The starting offensive line looks like it's going to be from left to right. Trey Smith, Jameer Johnson, Brandon Kennedy, Ryan Johnson, and Drew Richmond. Carvin working in at one of the guards. Chance Hall has been working pretty much with the guards, with Tatum probably kicking over to that right tackle, rotating in, and Calvert also working with one of the guys coming in. So I think those are probably the guys that you're going to see for the most part, especially early on in the season.
I think it's a very underrated group, in my opinion.
It took you damn long enough to start saying that.
I said that a couple weeks ago. I've been saying that for a few weeks now.
That's like,
it's
going to suck. A month out, we're going to
Don't listen to him.
Big Hall Molly's up front.
So I think that the ability to run, whether or not we're able to run on this West Virginia football team, is going to have a major influence on the
Especially
outcome of the game. If the forecast, if the weather, yes, it's going to play a bigger role. Because in that, obviously, that would push the momentum and the game in our favor to be when it starts raining. It's much harder to throw the football. Period.
Yeah.
And I just don't see their offensive line, their running backs being able to just run on us all day. I don't.
Teams that have offensive line, I say this as an offensive lineman who had to deal with trying to find that soft medium between pass blocking and run blocking. A team that passes maybe, what would you say, 70% of the time?
No, you'd be surprised. I've actually started going into and watching film on them. It's about not quite 50-50, but it's relatively close to 50. If you're including the times that it looks like a pass play and it's either a drawn-up quarterback draw or it's just Will Grier taking off, it's close to 50-50 between those because from what I saw, it's just if they get to 3rd and 7, they're going 5 wide, and just letting Will Grier go back and making his reads, nothing there, taking off straight up the middle. I mean, and that's a predication of their third down offense.
Which is where I like that we've moved to a 3-4 because I think the defensive linemen.
You're going to have a spy.
Yes. I think in having 4 linebackers instead of 3.
Sapp?
Batuli.
Yeah, I'll take a
Sapp or Batuli.
I would.
Kirkland's not going to be fast enough, in my opinion, to be able to do that.
I would agree with that. That's going to be your probables. But, I mean, we don't know the scheme. We don't know if they are going to spy.
But, I mean, the other runs that I saw, they have a read option with which Will Greer is not afraid to keep that ball. He takes it 50% of the time, if not more on that too. He's not afraid to get outside the ends and take it and get 6 yards and slide. He's not a guy like Josh Dobbs that's going to try to avoid a hit and cut back. And he's going to take his 6 yards, going to get that first down by 1 yard, slide, line the offense back up again and try to throw the ball around. Other thing they do, instead of doing that 3rd and 7 where he just takes off up the middle, he takes, his 3-step drop, running back slides back with him like he's pass blocking. And then all of a sudden he just drops that ball off, trying to go straight back up the middle.
Yep.
And a lot of times their offensive line does a good job of opening up that hole straight up the middle because the defensive lineman and whichever outside linebacker
they're known to be a passing team. So if it looks like a pass, then you can control where that there's so many options in that case what you can do.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, but as a defensive lineman, once you read pass, it's basically just get to the quarterback. Yes, you have your assignment for your gap.
But almost at that point, whenever you read pass, some coaches, they say you see a pass, you do what you got to do to get to the quarterback.
Exactly.
Your ends will always have your outside contained, but
that's the only thing.
Your interior guys, they do what they got to do.
Free reign, and then basically the rule is the second that you see hand off the ball, at that point, if you're not close enough to make an impact on him physically hitting him, then hands up.
Right.
Get the passing lane.
And that's what makes a draw so for like you're saying against a team that you're looking at like this. If your guys are just understanding, hey, I need to get to the quarterback here because it is a delayed. He's sitting back there snapping the ball, taking a couple, and then dropping it down just like this. By this time, what they're doing is they have their center guard tackle take, the 3 guys in the defensive line there, turning them this way, and it's usually just 1 or 2 guys over here. And most of the time, I was watching the TCU game for the most part. Usually just 1 guy over here pushing that, and then there's just this huge hole. And then a lot of times TCU did have a guy on spy right here, but it's just a one-on-one between your middle linebacker and their running back.
A team that does it right gets at least 2 offensive linemen up there on linebackers or downfield, and that's why when draws work, that's why they work. You get an offensive lineman up on those linebackers. At least one of them. Usually you want to try for 2.
That's the whole idea of a draw is let the
defensive line come. It's almost the same concept as a screen to a degree.
But when you can spread out like they're doing with 5 guys too, 4 or 5 wide receivers, that spreads everything out, including your outside linebackers where, most of the time they're playing 4-3s. But all you got to worry about is those inside linebackers there. And if you can get one blocker out on him, that's going to open up a whole lot. So UT, I'm sure Jeremy Pruitt has been thinking about this.
Yeah, we're talking about something. I
started watching video yesterday, and I figured this out in one day. So I'm sure with him having months and months to prepare for this game, that they'll be prepared for that.
Absolutely.
And I think if you can take away the run game like that, what Tennessee needs to be able to do is they need to be able to line up man-to-man on the outside. Mm-hmm. Will Greer and Dana Holgerson, anytime that the team would run zone on them last year, they would pick it apart. He can put that ball wherever he wants to. He's one of the more accurate quarterbacks that I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years in college football. And he may not have the arm strength. That is one thing that I don't think he quite has is the arm strength. But I think accuracy-wise, that dude is pinpoint. 7 yards anywhere, he can put it. If his guy gets 1 step opening on a curl route or a dig route, he's going to have the ball there. So when you're in a zone, you can see those kind of things develop. Your wide receivers, all these guys are veteran wide receivers that he has on his team, and they understand where to sit in these zones, and he's going to be able to put the ball there. So I've seen multiple people say it now. For Tennessee to have success, the defensive line and the outside linebackers have to be able to get to the quarterback without dialing up all kinds of different blitzes. And Tennessee has to be able to go man-to-man on the outside and keep their wide receivers in check, especially Jennings and Sills. If you keep those 2 in check and man-to-man, that takes away his 2 guys on the outside. You're getting to the quarterback, and then all of a sudden he's trying to have to figure out, and I know that's a whole lot of asking of our defense.
Especially a defensive line that's very unproven.
A ton from a true freshman corner having to play on some of those guys. But if I was a defensive coordinator, that's how I would attack this team, is I would try to bring some pressure with the outside linebackers along with our 3 guys that are down. And then try to play man-to-man on the outside and you have to get pressure. And whether that's rotating fresh legs in or if it's just Terrell Taylor and Kongbo are your best 2 guys and you need to roll with them the entire time, you've got to get to the quarterback against a guy like Will Greer. And as fast passing as it is, it's difficult sometimes.
Something that I always love doing, especially when we did this up at ETSU, and it worked to perfection for us against some better passing teams, actually. We straight up put 4 defensive ends on the ball on third and long. I mean, in this case, maybe it's 3 defensive ends and an outside linebacker.
Better not do
Put him on the ball and go. Let him go.
Better not do what Jancic did though, and have those 4 defensive ends across on 4th and 17, and drop one of them into a spy, and then have that 4th and 17 go for a damn touchdown.
No.
Because Jancic had the rabbit package, as he called, which is exactly what you're talking about. It's 4 defensive ends.
When you run it correctly, it works really, really well.
Except you don't need a spy in 17.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Distance.
No.
Yeah. You don't need a spy. In that case, you're trying to get people.
I hate a 3-man rush. I mean, there's very few times where I think a 3-man rush is a correct call, especially on deep down.
Unless you have somebody like we had in Derek Barnett, then in my opinion,
that could get to the quarterback. Yes,
in my opinion,
we don't have that.
No,
we don't have that right now.
So.
Exactly. Darrell Taylor
is the only name.
Maybe Jonathan Kongbo comes out and shows out. Unlike these past couple of years,
a little bit more. So
I agree. I agree completely.
What about offensively? I know we have a whole lot more question marks offensively with knowing exactly what we're doing.
I don't think that's true. I think that offensively we have less question marks. I think
I'm talking not personnel wise. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about what's the word? Scheme.
Yeah.
Scheme. Because we don't know what they're going to do. We don't know if they're going to come out and run shotgun 70% of the time. If we're going to be under center 90% of the time. So we just don't know. I think it'll be a multiple offense.
Yes. Probably.
I agree. I think that the best way to beat a team like West Virginia and the way that gives you the best chance, short passes, running game. If this offensive line can move the ball whatsoever on this West Virginia defense by running,
that opens up.
That's big time.
If you can hold on to the ball for time of possession is everything in college football. It's everything in any football game.
I disagree in this game.
Hold on to that ball for 35, 38. Even, I mean, if you can hold it for 40 minutes, I doubt you can.
I disagree in this game. I think Tennessee could have the ball 40 minutes this game, and West Virginia just have 20.
I think you're underestimating just how hard that is to do that.
No, I understand. I'm saying Tennessee could do that and still lose by 15 much? Because if you look through what West Virginia does is they either go 3 and out or they score in about 4 plays.
Right.
They don't have big prolonged drives. So they could score quickly. We could stop them the next drive. They could score quickly. And you look up at the scoreboard and it's at the end of the first quarter, 21-10, 21-14, something like that. And you've had the ball for 10, 11 minutes of that quarter. And you're still like, how the heck are we down 10 plus points already?
I think I can understand where you come from that. But I think that at a certain point when the offense isn't getting on the field for more than a couple minutes at a time and
look at the 2012
a lot of minutes in between, it can really hurt your momentum. It can really hurt your rhythm.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that much West Virginia film or honestly.
An air raid offense is a very different animal though.
Exactly, it is.
They can just score like this.
It's predicated basically on spreading the field, getting favorable matchups, and then finding either windows and zones or beating your one-on-one man-to-man matchups and getting your playmakers in space. And with an accurate quarterback with quick setup plays, you're either going. That's the whole point. Is with an experienced, talented quarterback like that, he's able to analyze, read the defense extremely fast, and decide, all right, check it down, or find your short man beaters, your slant in between zones, or find your double move deep. Which their receivers are they have some serious talent on getting down the field,
and they don't check down a whole lot. I did notice that too. It's more of his check down as he just takes off running. They didn't seem to. Their running back stays in and blocks most of the time, and I mean, all their guys are running routes. Now, some are staying on a flat route or a short curl, hitch, dig, something like that. So not your traditional check down of a running back running a flare or something like that. But most of the time, it's him just taking off.
I think it comes down to in simplest football terms you can: tackling and not letting anything get behind you in the secondary. That's all it comes down to. If we can do those two things and we can hold on to the ball for the majority of the game, which that's 3 big tasks right there.
If you want to hold on to the ball, and that wants to be your game plan of we're just going to push, we're going to run the ball down their throat.
I'm not saying they have to.
No, but I'm saying if that's what we have to do, you have to finish drives. That it cannot be a thing where we take all this time. We take 5, 6, 7 minute drive and go down there and kick a 28-yard field goal.
No,
you can't do that. You'll lose.
Can't settle.
This isn't Bruce Jones either.
No, I know it isn't.
Yeah.
What were you saying earlier, though?
I think that with the coming off a season that was essentially wrecked by Will Greer's injury, I think that more than likely the coaches, the trainers, and everybody have been in his ear and trying to get him to hey, be smarter with the football.
His was a follow-through, right?
I think.
Or was it a falling down?
I can't. Dislocated pinky. I think it was the follow-through, I believe.
The old Justin Worley
but,
injury.
I mean, I realize that it's a hand injury, but essentially what they're
diving into the end zone pylon.
Okay, I mean,
the old trying to throw left-handed.
They are going to be telling him, be careful, use your legs when you need to, but they're going to tell him, get the ball out of your hands and into our actual athlete and playmakers' hands, and where you're not essentially risking our season.
Is this underrated or overrated? How much pressure they're feeling right now in West Virginia? Because Tennessee has no pressure on them.
That's very
They're
true.
coming off 4-8. They got a brand new.
I think it's underrated.
I think so too. Because when's the last time West Virginia has been picked to go? By some people as high as 8 or 9.
Two Heisman candidates.
Yes.
And starting off, what were they picked? I'm sorry.
I think they're going to be ranked like 18, something like that.
So they're ranked
and
18th right now, but
wanting to say that they're going to compete for a Big 12 title against TCU, Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's very underrated.
All
a team
three
coming
are
off a
replacing
7-6
quarterbacks.
year.
I can see where they say that.
Mm-hmm. That's true, but I mean, somebody like Oklahoma, Trevor Knight is a proven.
Not Trevor Knight.
Not Trevor
God
Knight.
damn it! You just went back about 7 years.
Sugar Bowl.
That's not my name.
Against
Justin
that's
Worley,
not
our
my name.
quarterback.
Okay, I meant not. What's his name?
We played them that year.
Who is it? It's the guy from A&M.
Yes, I forget his name too. So.
Come on, somebody help me out here.
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray. Why did I say Trevor Knight? Man? He's from A&M too.
He went to
God
A&M
damn it! I don't want to hear
after.
it. I hate you. Yeah, whatever.
You don't hate me. You love me. I think Worley won our quarterback competition though.
I think it comes
Throwing
down to this
throwing
tempo,
left-handed,
though.
right?
Early in the game for a new team like this, like Tennessee, it's all going to come down to tempo.
I agree.
On the first kickoff, whether we're receiving or we're kicking, someone's got to get hit hard.
And
that's what it's come down to. If you lay the wood into a team, you're like,
I mean, it's your typical.
This is a different team.
If you can do that and get a hit on Will Greer early, a big hit on Will Greer, I'm not advocating for dirty hits, but if you can get a big lick on Will Greer and maybe even draw a flag because it's slightly late, if it comes down to that, I think the flag in that case would be worth it. I think a penalty in that case early on in the game, we can't have that in crucial moments. I think it's almost worth it. Somebody like Will Greer coming off getting hit early and hard.
I mean, possibly.
And Pruitt just said this on vol calls. There's nothing better to affect a good quarterback than an old-fashioned lick.
There's nothing better.
Exactly.
Quarterbacks are pretty boys, okay? Kind of like John Deere over here. Especially
you think
Nash
Will Greer?
I'm sorry. Will Greer.
Do you think Will Greer puts his hair up before you know?
Easily, definitely.
Okay, I'm not gonna.
Definitely, he's gonna. No, I think he's a pretty boy. I think he's a Florida guy who thought he was going to go down to Gainesville and get all the
hang out with Zach Smith.
Yeah, something like that. I think he's a pretty boy. I think if he gets licked a couple times, he's not going to play nearly as well as he would.
I wouldn't play well if I got licked either.
I'm just saying, if a big guy like Shy Tuttle busted the line and hits you early on first,
or somebody like Darrell Taylor getting
I don't care.
sprinting start,
absolutely just shredded.
Those are some big boys.
I'm just saying,
let's put it like this: I wouldn't want to get hit by him.
He may be a great quarterback, but he is still just a kid. And if you hit him hard enough, it's going to get in his head. He's not a machine.
I think that what we have essentially all can agree upon, that this is more than likely going to be a close game. Your typical first kickoff game of the season, where you're going to have a big momentum swing more than likely at the beginning of the game, and that team that is going to be a big moment because so much is determined by the first team to really throw a big punch of momentum in the game, get a big score, get a big turnover. It's how the other team responds. If they just essentially lay down and take it, and the other team rolls, or if it's a back and forth affair. And I think that it will be competitive, and I think that it'll just be a game of swings and runs. I think that this is going to be a tightly competed game. I don't see a whole lot of talent disparity in the teams. I mean,
there's a little bit more proven with
yes, absolutely,
with West Virginia, but I think that our wide receivers. They've got some good wide receivers. I think our wide receivers are very underrated.
Yes,
underrated, not proven either.
Not proven to a degree.
I mean, you have Juwan Jennings, Marquez Callaway, but Callaway, I mean,
Callaway had his moments.
Great.
I think it's going to be just an introduction of West Virginia back into SEC football. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you're talking about, the smash mouth. The last game they played against the SEC was in 2016 against Missouri. It's Drew Lock's first game as a starting quarterback. That didn't really count. It was 26-11. No. They lost the 5 previous times. You're talking about A&M in 2014. Kenny Hill's first year starting over there. Mm-hmm. You got against Alabama.
That was a season opener in
2014.
Atlanta? I can't remember where.
I don't remember where it is. 2014, they got beat by 10 by Alabama. Before that, they got beat by 26 by LSU in 2011. Got beat by 6 by LSU in 2010. So they've not played really. I mean, it's been since 2014 since they played
Missouri wasn't good back in 2016.
No.
Obviously, we aren't proven to be good either this year. I think we're underrated, possibly. But I think that a little old school football will reintroduce them quite quickly.
So,
absolutely
interesting. I guess let's go around the room. Take your biggest pick 2 position group matchups. Tennessee's position group versus West Virginia's that you think are the biggest ones.
Wide receiver DBs, quarterback DBs.
No, it'll be wide receiver DBs all day. Mm-hmm. If it's not
D-line,
our O-line versus their D-line.
Yeah.
As far as starting the run game against that. Mm-hmm.
I would say mine we're going to be quarterback play and defensive back play.
Yeah,
right. I think that those are going to be the 2 biggest things. How Garantano plays, if he's able to make plays down the field and not turn the ball over, that changes our offense and game plan completely. If Garantano is actually able to become a legitimate downfield threat with time to be with a little bit of reasonable time to be in the pocket and the ability to get outside and extend plays. I mean, that's how a proven quality team makes deep vertical plays happen, is that you either have good protection or you extend the play and then make something happen. And right. For the past few years, we haven't been able to see that. And obviously last year we weren't able to see it with Garantano. And a lot of people, I think that it's looking more and more like has pretty much the starting job won. And I think deservedly so. As we've already talked about in previous podcasts and everything, I think the younger guy, but it's his team. And he fought and competed with the circumstances and team and the guys that he had last year. And I guarantee you, the emotion that you see with this kid, the demeanor that you see.
Yep.
I mean, he wants to go out and prove
he wants to succeed.
This is my team, and he committed to this program for a reason. I mean,
right.
Versus the legacy at Rutgers, the opportunity at Ohio State. Think about what Jarrett Garantano may or may not have been at Ohio State at this point, but he's here at Tennessee now for a reason. Possibly.
Up until now,
yes,
because Barrett just graduated.
Yes, but I mean, I think that I see a lot of opportunity. Now, who knows? I mean, this is obviously hopeful and optimistic, but I think that this coaching staff has enough experience that they probably, all of the media that is essentially saying that they have the inside, that Garantano has looked like the well and above quarterback thus far and has gotten the most first team reps and such, that it's probably for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, how Garantano plays and how Greer plays and how each team's defensive backs cover the underrated and or very talented and experienced opposing receivers, I think is going to determine the outcome of this game.
Yeah, definitely.
I may be completely off, and it may be literally a special teams touchdown that wins it. But I mean, I think that's one thing that I have read is that West Virginia in most special teams categories, I believe, was ranked 75th or worse.
Yeah,
they have apparently just had a history of pretty poor special teams. So
the question is how deep
not
team
to
is even.
not to interject or anything, but we've got to move on. We'll have the rest of this in our game preview that we'll have posted tomorrow. We're up against it a little bit, and we still got to get our game picks in.
So good.
We'll run over a little bit
Talking
today.
football.
Yeah. We'll have the rest of it in the game preview tomorrow. We'll make sure to have everybody's opinions into that, especially things that they didn't get in tonight. We'll have all those opinions in there tomorrow, along with an extensive game preview, hopefully having some video in there where we can show what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So, quickly, no explanation really needed. Any of these games, you can throw in a one-liner if you want, if you feel necessary, but we're just going to go down it. We'll start with Mike each time. Mike, you give yours. Matt, John, me, okay? Start with the first one, number 21 UCF, 23.5-point favorites at UConn. Mike?
Looking at UCF with a win that week, or the game week 1, good season last year, thinks they're national champions, all that stuff.
Yeah, bullshit. UCF
by a lot.
UCF, this will be an interesting one to keep an eye on as far as a betting pick, though. 23.5 at UConn's a lot. Next, we got Utah State at Michigan State. Michigan State, a 23.5-point favorite. Mike, what do you got?
Michigan State.
Matt?
Yep, same. The old Spartans.
Michigan State, gonna roll.
Michigan State. Any of these that are, pretty basic, we're just going to go through them real quick. Western Kentucky at number 4, Wisconsin. Anybody, I'll just do this. Anybody going to take Western Kentucky in this one?
Absolutely not.
No. San Diego State at number 13, Stanford. Stanford, a 14.5-point favorite. Anybody taking San Diego State? San Diego State actually beat Keller Christ in this game last year.
No, I'm not going to. I don't think anybody's going to take them. I don't think, but I think it could be closer than imagined.
We got Oregon State at Ohio State. Ohio State, a 39-point favorite against a Power 5 conference team, which is pretty impressive no matter who it is. Anybody going to take Oregon State in this game?
Nope.
No.
I think that Ohio State walks out there with a point to prove. I think the players and the coaching staff are going to have a massive chip on their shoulder and literally just try and drown out any of the press right now with just a walloping of Oregon State.
Yep. Next, we got number 23, Texas, 13.5-point favorites at Maryland. Of course, Maryland also dealing with some off-the-field issues themselves, as Matt Canada will be the interim coach for this game. Mm-hmm. Anybody taking Maryland in this one?
I took Maryland. That might be a little outlandish to say.
Could happen. I think it's an early game.
It
is.
12. The program is in shambles.
Noon kickoff.
We'll see. I mean,
they had a kid die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did.
But they may be playing for him. Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, Texas to me is the
no hope.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Texas is kind of in the same situation. We have been in the past. We're overrated.
You don't think Herman has the program moving in the right direction?
Not yet. Not yet.
Spending too much time.
Yeah, I think I see Tom Herman. Yeah, spending too much time. I see him as almost a Butch Jones-esque figure. Not gonna lie, a little bit better.
Took a Houston team and absolutely ripped Florida State open.
That's true. To
develop the program that he had at Houston, I think was pretty impressive. I mean,
it is. I'm not denying that.
Greg Ward Jr. was that his name?
Uh-huh.
I mean, obviously a kid who was probably not looked at. I like Herman as a coach. I think Texas went out and got a good one.
I agree. Lane Kiffin takes FAU into number 7 Oklahoma. Oklahoma 21-point favorite here. Anybody gonna hop on the Lane train?
No, but I would definitely take that. I would definitely take that FAU cover.
I would not take that.
You don't think so?
I think that.
I would take it.
No,
I think Lincoln Riley may be looking at this and saying, "This is supposed to be the other great offensive mind in football." Yeah, I'll show you offensive mind.
Yes.
But Kyler Murray could also come out and have a stinker in his first game.
No, I would love for FAU to compete and make it a close game, but I think that Oklahoma has the talent. And you've been saying it. You were on his bandwagon for a while, hoping for OC at UT. Wait, how back? Like 6
before the board?
Yeah.
So, let's go ahead. Southern at number 16, TCU. There's not even a line for this. TCU is going to take that one. Furman at Clemson. Sorry, the no line on that one. Clemson's going to win that one.
Have you seen that story about the?
We don't have time for
Furman's quarterback goes to Clemson, but plays quarterback for Furman and starts there. You didn't know that?
What?
Yes, fact. Interesting fact of the day.
He attends classes at Clemson University, yet is the starting quarterback for Furman.
Yes. Because Furman University doesn't have his major or something like that. Anyway, Continuing on. Well, it's very strange. I don't know. Continuing on.
When you can't walk on at Clemson. This is actually a big game, so we each go around and say who we think of this one. Number 6, Washington versus number 9, Auburn. Auburn, a 1.5-point favorite. This game taking place in Atlanta, Georgia. Same game that we played in last year.
Big time game for Auburn for their first game out. Stidham's going to be back. Played really well last year. He's going to play better this year. I'm taking Auburn on top.
I think Jake Browning is going to be.
You got his name right.
I know who that is. I think he's an excellent quarterback. I think Washington comes out here. I think Auburn is overrated. I think Auburn is always overrated. For the most part. Year. What? I think for the most part, Auburn is overrated. Most years, and they've had their ups and downs.
So you got Washington?
I think Washington's a very good team, and I think they will pull this one out.
What you got, John?
I like the SEC here. I think that honestly, Chris Peterson is a phenomenal football coach. I think he's made Washington a relevant football program in the NCAA, but I think the athleticism, Gus Malzahn, we've talked about it. We've talked about and said that after the contract extension, maybe not. Does he have the motivation? But I think that Auburn is coming off somewhat a disappointing season where they think that they kind of.
It wasn't a disappointing season. They had a disappointing ending.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, in other words, that it is disappointing to beat both teams playing in the national championship and then lose your bowl game in the fashion that you did. Yeah. So, I mean,
to the real national champion. Could be the third national champion.
I think that Auburn comes out with, I know it's an idiom again, but I think a big chip on their shoulder. I think that they're going to want to prove it's a huge game in Atlanta. It's a top 10 matchup. I think it'll be a great game, but I'm taking Auburn this one.
The real chip on the shoulder here is Washington because they know a loss here almost dooms their season.
Yep,
the Pac-12 is weak this year. The only team that's really going to have a shot to make the playoff is Washington, and they know a loss here means they got to,
win out.
I mean, Peterson is like after all of the talk about we get zero respect media wise, no good because game times.
They're primetime ABC here.
I mean, this is his opportunity.
This is big time.
And if Auburn comes out and stomps them, then Peterson is going to have to shut his mouth for a while. I mean, and so you're completely right. They're the team with a lot on the line and a lot more to prove. And I think that may be Auburn a little bit less pressure in that situation.
Does Eason help in the quarterback room there, knowing that he's played against Auburn once and was also in the quarterback room last year as a prep for Auburn?
Possibly.
Twice.
I definitely think so. I think that any experience that you can have in your position room, in your meeting room, and especially a guy that has looked and had experienced coaches break down the film, I think that that's going to be huge. So I definitely think that, regardless if he gets on the field or not, I think it's definitely going to be beneficial.
Mm-hmm. So we got 2-2 there on that game. We'll be keeping up with these week by week, and we'll see who ends up with the best record at the end of the year. Austin P at number 3, Georgia. No line for this one. Any takers?
Georgia.
Go Govs.
Appalachian State at number 10, Penn State. Penn State, a 23.5-point favorite. That's a little low, considering that Ohio State was 39-point favorite over Oregon State.
Right.
I do think this game ends up being close for a little bit, but I'm going to take anybody going to take Appalachian State.
I don't think that Appy State is too husky for Sandusky.
UNLV at number 15, USC. USC, a 26-point favorite. Anybody going to take? What is UNLV?
University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
I know, but what's their?
Running Rebels. Jeez. Running Rebels.
I don't think anybody's going to take them, but as I was telling John earlier, I think this is a game that you might want to look at to say UNLV covers in this game. It's a noon or 1 o'clock kick on the West Coast. USC named JT Daniels, I believe is his name, the true freshman as the starting quarterback. Throw all those things into pot, and it makes it for a much closer game than it really would be later on.
UNLV also coming off of a loss from last year in which they gave up the largest upset in college football history versus Howard.
Oh, yeah.
They lost to a Division II school.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. It was the biggest
point spread upset ever.
Number 22, Boise State, 10.5-point favorite at Troy. Anybody going to take the bait here?
I don't think
Not
so.
taking Troy.
Not taking Troy. I'm going Boise here.
I think Broncos roll.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, boys, and I don't want to lead y'all astray. This game is at Troy. Troy went 11-2 last year, including a win in Death Valley against LSU.
Are you really going to take Troy right here?
Troy.
He's going to take Troy.
I'm taking Troy.
Oh, my goodness.
Troy over Boise State.
Troy over Boise?
Troy over Boise.
Hey, look.
You like Boise because they got blue turf? Nobody knows who plays for Boise. It's just Boise State's been good for...
Jesus.
They've been good for over
Nobody
a
knows
decade.
anyone
Exactly.
from Boise. Everybody
You just know,
Boise.
they've been good for over a decade. Must be still good.
Are they the Boise State potato?
Troy went 11-2. That's Idaho. Oh. I know Idaho's the Vandals. I actually thought they were the potatoes. It was. I knew Boise was in Idaho. I literally thought the University of Idaho was the potatoes. I forgot they're the Vandals.
All right, what you got?
Let's continue on. Stephen F. Austin at Mississippi State. No Nick Fitzgerald, but still there's no line on this game. Anybody taking Stephen F.?
No.
Maybe if it was basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
Yeah,
Maybe in basketball.
Here is the closest game. Well, yeah. I'll say probably the closest game as far as, by the lines, it is the closest game.
Right.
Number 14, Michigan at number 12, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, a 1-point favorite. I see that, what y'all got? It's a split. I can see what y'all picked earlier, but this is a split, obviously.
Michigan's going to have a good quarterback this year, I think, with their quarterback play coming out early in the year. Michigan.
Old Shea Patterson up
Not
in
a big
Michigan
fan.
now. He's no longer wearing 20.
Well, regardless.
Regardless.
Michigan with the win.
I've got Notre Dame over here is going to come out here and get the win, but
Who's Notre Dame's coach?
Brian Kelly. There we go. I think Notre Dame comes out here and gets the win, and Notre Dame proceeds to tank its season, and then Michigan proceeds to tank its season, and then
They can't fire Jim Harbaugh.
No, they can't fire him. But,
Literally like a $45 million buyout.
but and then Notre Dame is overhyped per usual, and they end up tanking their season late.
And Under Armour is bad.
Yep, and Under Armour is bad.
Those Yankees uniforms are atrocious. Atrocious.
John, who you got?
I like Michigan here. I think that Harbaugh has heard enough of he is not over the hump. Brady Hoke has the same record against rivals.
In all caps.
The man's getting paid.
I have same record as you.
The man's making $9 million a year to coach. I'm not a huge Brian Kelly guy at this point. I think with the what really showed it to me, and now this game was played, I think, in the rain in Miami, or was it at Notre? No, it was at Notre Dame, I believe, when Miami just absolutely shat on Notre Dame. I think that program, honestly, is in need of a replacement the same way that Tennessee was in need of a replacement of Butch Jones. I don't think that Brian Kelly is necessarily that bad of a coach. I just think that program is not where they want to be, and I like Michigan and Harbaugh to actually come out and get a signature victory here.
All right. I'm just going to skip through these because we're literally up against it. Louisville at number 1, Alabama. Anybody got Louisville here?
Nope.
Bowling Green at Oregon.
Oregon.
We do have a big one here. Number 8, Miami, 3.5-point favorites against number 25, LSU. This is in Arlington, Texas. What do you boys got?
SEC.
Turnover chain.
I'm having to pick Mark Rick and his Hurricanes.
Turnover chain.
Matt, what you got?
I'm going LSU here. I'm going LSU.
John's saying Miami. I'm going with LSU. Joe Burrows gets it done in his first start. On Monday night, number 20, Virginia Tech at number 19, FSU. FSU, a 7.5-point favorite at home. They're wearing their black uniforms because the unification group on campus asked if they could wear black jerseys.
Go Noles.
Roll Noles.
I've got a VT here.
Ugh.
I've got VT here.
You're going to either end up with a much better record than all of us or a much better.
Look, Justin Fuente is a very, in my opinion, I think that was a great hire by Tech. I think
so too.
I think that he has that program moving in the right direction. I think he's a good schematic coach. But I do think that Taggart was not a bad hire at all by Florida State either. Yeah. I think that he's going to get that program. At least maybe he's not the savior for Florida State, but I think that he's going to get that program heading back in the right direction from Jimbo leaving.
All right, next game here, Noah.
Northwestern State versus Texas A&M. I'm not even going to discuss that.
Yeah, no.
This is an interesting one. Ole Miss at Texas Tech. This game is a neutral site game as it's being played only an hour away from Lubbock down in Houston. I believe it's about that an hour or so. Texas Tech 2.5-point favorite. What do y'all got?
Texas Tech over the Land
I'm taking
Sharks.
Tech.
Rebs.
Yep.
Not the Rebs. Okay, we're PC now, man. Right there. Hit him with it.
Jordan Teamu.
Hit him with it one time.
Didn't we just say gay a lot?
Continue on, please.
Jordan Teamu wins. Ole Miss wins. Coastal Carolina at South Carolina. South Carolina.
I've got South Carolina.
CMU at Kentucky. Kentucky, anybody?
Kentucky. Yep, UK.
Eastern Illinois at Arkansas.
Cupcake.
Kansas.
Yep.
UT Martin at Missouri.
Missouri.
Cupcake.
Charleston Southern at Florida. I think I'm going to take.
Florida.
Florida.
All right, here comes the biggest, closest game that we have on the schedule. MTSU at Vanderbilt. Crosstown Rivals. High school Friday night.
High school Friday night for the
It's the pilot game of the week. It's on a Thursday.
Alex Say's favorite game of the year.
I think Josh Ward and Will West are doing the game on Friday night.
hey.
Jesse Smithy covered on 5-star press.
I'm picking Vandy. Gotta go SEC on that pick.
Oh, no, you don't. Blue Raiders, man. I Blue Raider off into something else. I'm excited for that one. Jock Bruce.
I'm picking MTSU. They have played Vandy extremely close the past few years.
And they're going to get them.
It's developed. It's developed.
They already got them.
I think they got them 1 year.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, then that gets just going to get them.
Yeah, I think
one way or another.
I think is that Stock still?
Yeah, the left-handed kid.
Well, not even the quarterback. I think isn't he the coach?
Oh yeah,
as well.
They got
Yeah.
Wasn't his son on the team?
Yes, he was. He was the guy who went to Siegel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like MTSU's program. Honestly, they've competed. Is it the Ohio OVC?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're in
Tennessee Tech and Austin.
I believe so. But regardless, whatever Group of 5 conference they're in, they have done well the past few years. I like the matchup against Vanderbilt and their defense. I think that your prediction or hot take, honestly, is probably going to come true. I don't think that Derek Mason lasts out. I mean, maybe the end of the season, but I think that at that last game,
they'll give him through the end of the season.
All right,
fire on there.
We got to get to our final game. It's finally giving a score prediction.
Big one.
West Virginia against Tennessee in Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium. Tennessee is a somewhere between a 9 to 10.5 point underdog. What do y'all got, Mike? What do you got?
I'm being a bit optimistic. Looking at kind of everything going on, I'm definitely picking Tennessee at this game. 45-42 field goal to win it at the end.
45-42 field goal to win it. I'm a little bit pessimistic here. I've got probably West Virginia comes out strong, almost midseason form, puts up a couple touchdowns on us quick. We end up tying it up sometime in the third quarter, maybe early fourth, and losing in Tennessee fashion, like only Tennessee fans know, with a touchdown within the last 2 minutes.
I think I'm going to roll with Matt here. I think that this is going to be a back and forth affair. I think that West Virginia is talented. I think that we're going to come out and surprise a lot of people, but this is going to be a classic Tennessee heartbreaker. I think that it's going to come down to a play in the fourth quarter where we're either just going to lose it. I think there's going to be a singular defining moment in the fourth quarter where we lose it or they win it. And,
yep.
I think if it doesn't go their way, I'm hoping to God it'll go ours.
Yep.
Probably, I'm going to say 38-31.
Mine is 31-24.
And I'm super close to John. I'm 37-31. I think they get a couple drives where it looks like we've held them off and blah, 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 but they still end up with a field goal. They'll bend but don't break. I think they end up with a couple more field goals and touchdowns. I've not seen a lot of people say that they're going to – I mean, I think that's 3 field goals. So – we'll see how it happens. Like we've all said, it's going to come down to the end. I mean, it honestly is. So sorry that we ran over tonight. We'll try to fix that in the upcoming weeks. As far as getting our hold, this is a first game week podcast. We need to figure out how much time we're going to need for each thing. Glad we got everything in. We'll be live Saturday morning. We'll have a bunch of information. Yeah, we'll have a bunch of information over the next couple of days. So pay attention to our Twitter page and our website. Anybody else have anything to say?
Be safe driving to Charlotte. Let's roll across the old Appalachians. Take over the city, boys and girls.
And girls.
Saturdays for the
We'll
boys.
see the Orange and White in Charlotte.
Yeah. It's
Sign
Orange
off.
White Takeover. Have a great rest of the night, and let's get ready for this weekend because we're taking over Charlotte.